Okay, this is running. Okay, this is Q&A, like speed Q&A for informative speech class. What was your best speech? Oh gosh, I've had some really good ones. The more interesting, the better. That's a great question. I had a great one on Egyptian pyramids. I've had, golly, I had a great one on the evolution of the cell phone, and they brought in different sizes of the cell phone. It was really interesting. I was going to use a question like, how would you like to get paid based on someone's opinion? How do I put sources for serving? I was going to compare entry-level salaries to servers. Okay. How would you like to get paid on someone's opinion? Okay, so you're leading, right? Probably servers. One of the things you could do is go into the Business Journal and San Jack's Library and talk about the restaurant industry, or look at social issues in there like minimum wage for servers. I was going to compare entry-level salaries to servers. I think that's a great thing. You may have to go into Google, find out on average how much do servers make per hour, and then go back into San Jack's Library. Okay, statistics on harassment, just to show how difficult the job is. There's harassment everywhere, but you can do that. I would look at social science research, a social science tab. How do you overcome a writer's speech block? You just start. You write whatever you can think of. You write a transition statement on the outline that says, now that I've talked about this, I'm going to talk about this. You write a question. If all else fails, write that ethos, that credibility. Why did you pick the topic? Answer that question for me. Why are you talking about this? Okay. What if I go over 5 minutes? That is a great question. Every 30 seconds you go over, I take off 1 point. So there's not a huge penalty, but if you go way over, then I'm going to have to cut you off. How would I present a topic as not political? The wall. Okay, there's some persuasive topics you can jump into, but here's what I think you could do. If you're talking about something like the wall, there's a bunch of information thrown around. Unfortunately, our president is not always accurate about what he's saying, so we get inaccurate information. So really talk about like maybe 3 things that have been said or 3 rumors, and then just like explaining, I'm here to just clarify some information. How many people actually come into the country? How many people actually hurt other people? How does that actually affect us financially? You're just providing information. Information is power, and it is important that we have it to make political decisions. So it's okay to be political as long as you're not having an agenda. You're literally just revealing information. Do we have to turn an outline? Yes, you're turning in 3 things. The magic number is 3. Outline, references, sources. How many total citations? Again, the magic number is 3. I hope you've been awake in the last month. 3 citations, and you're going to say them in your speech. Like, according to the Journal of American Medicine, 1 in 3 kids have asthma. Whatever. Can we use Google sources like CNN as long as it's a journal or newspaper? Great question. And yes, I will allow that because there's a high level of accountability. Turns out not fake, but real news. Okay. Some of you got that. How can I make my speech more interesting? Gosh, I think sometimes you just have to acknowledge the obvious and say, hey, I know this may not be the most interesting topic in the world, but I've done some research and I found some interesting facts I want to share with you. There's a reason that we watch weird documentaries and that we are glued to bizarre YouTube stories and Netflix shows, because it's different and it's interesting. That's great. Okay, another great question. What happens if I go over 5 minutes? A small deduction. Every 30 seconds, you'll lose a point. Can we use PowerPoint or short video or flashcards? You will be required to use note cards. You cannot use PowerPoint. That's a great question. Do not use PowerPoint. How fast should I speak? Oh, not as fast as I'm talking right now. You want to, when you're going through some information, scientific information or mathematic statistics, increase your rate a little bit. You're sounding confident. You're putting that information out there. You're not questioning it. You're not going, okay, so there's a thing and a place. But when you're talking about your feelings, or you're saying, here's why I decided, or here's what I want you to remember, slow your rate down like this. Gosh, I hope that helps. Okay, take deep breaths. That will help. Flashcards. You will be required to use note cards. If your flashcard is some kind of a prop, maybe. Can I use 1 or 2 reference photos? You can bring them in and hold them up. But I want you to create a speech just with you, or if you were asked to speak an event, what if they had no technology? What would that look like for you? Once you learn how to do that, then technology can only help you, and we'll use it in the next one. How long should a paragraph be? Well, 3 to 5 sentences, ask your English comp professor, but you're not writing a paragraph. You're just going to speak. So if you're writing from a working outline, that's not keyword outline, not a speaking outline, but a working outline, you're in rough draft mode. We'll talk about this tomorrow. You can maybe like 2 or 3 sentences for each subpoint. What happens if I can't find a source? That is a great question. And I had another question here about what do I do if I can't find a source, or what if I do if I can't figure out a good motivation hook. Oh, here's the last question. I knew I put it somewhere. Okay. How do I make my words sound unprofessional? That's not quite the same thing. For your words, simplify it. We'll talk about that tomorrow. Simple's better. Always simple's better. We don't need complicated words. How do I not procrastinate? Which goes into what if I can't find things? Well, 1, don't put off looking for your sources till the last minute. You will hit a wall. The other thing is, if you are procrastinating, or you're stuck with your main points, transitions, you're stuck with a hook statement, look around. Here I am in my office with my bridge. And if you're stuck on a cliff and you can't get to another cliff, I want to help you get to where you want to go. Building 9, room 251. Sometimes I have candy. Today I didn't, but come see me. Come sit with me. I had 2 students today, and we got their survey results done. We clarified their thesis statement. They're not stuck anymore. We made a quick checklist. So come see me, and I'll help you get unstuck, and you will not procrastinate. So I hope I answered all of your questions, and I'll see you in class tomorrow.